Dear children, in this module we are going to learn about the third whole, that is the androecium. The androecium is composed of stamens. It is situated inner to the corolla and is composed of stamens, which is the male reproductive organ. Each stamen represents the male reproductive organ. A stamen is again divided into two main parts. It is consisting of a filament and an anther. So a stamen is composed of two main parts, a filament and the anther. Each anther is bilobed. That means it is made up of two lobes. And each lobe has two chambers, and these chambers are called as the pollen sacs. This is the bilobed anther. This is one lobe and this is the second lobe. Inside each lobe there are two pollen sacs which is filled with the pollen grain, and the pollen grain is the male, or the pollen grain contains the male gamete. Inside the pollen grains there are the male gametes. So the pollen grains are the carriers of the male gamete. Sometimes there are a sterile stamens present, and such sterile stamens are called as a staminode. When stamens are attached to the petals, if all the stamens present are attached to the stamens, they are called as epipetals, and such a stamen is seen in the brinjal flower. And when the stamens are attached to the perianth, they are called as epiphyllous. We know perianth is the structure in which the petals or the corolla or calyx are not distinctive. They cannot be distinguished from each other, and such a structure is called as the perianth. If the stamens are attached to the perianth, they are called as epiphyllous. If the stamens are attached to the petals, they are called as epipetalis, and if the stamens are attached to the perianth, they are called as epiphyllous. If the stamens in a flower are free, they are called as polyandrous, and if the stamens are united, it is called as synandrous. This is a polyandrous and this is a synandrous flower. The synandrous flower can be of different types based on the number of bundles the stamens are united. It is called as monoadelphous if the stamens are united into a single bundle. This is a single bundle, and such a flower is called as monoadelphous, and it is seen in China rose. If the stamens are united into two bundles, it is called as diadelphous, and in such a stamen or synandrous stamen is called as diadelphous, and it is seen in peas. If the stamens are united into two or more bundles, it is called as polyadelphous, and such a stamen is seen in citrus flower. The gynoecium is otherwise called as the pistil. It is a female reproductive part of a flower, and this gynoecium can have one or more carpels. It is having one or more carpels, and each carpel is made up of three parts: the stigma, style, and ovary. The stigma is the tip of the style, and it is the receptive part which receives the pollen grains. The style is a long tube-like structure which connects the stigma to the ovary, and the ovary is the enlarged basal part on which the style attaches. Each ovary bears one or more ovules which is attached to a flat cushion-like structure which is called as the placenta. We can see the placenta on which the ovules are attached. If the pistil or the gynoecium is having many carpels, it is called as polycarpellary pistils. If the pistil is having many carpels, it is called as polycarpellary pistils. And these polycarpellary pistils, they are of two types. It can be either apocarpous or it can be syncarpous. Apocarpous, if all the carpels are free, from each other. We can see this is the apocarpous pistil. Whereas if all the carpels are fused together, it's called a syn. Syn stands for fusion. So syncarpous pistil means all the carpels are fused together, and this is the picture of a syncarpous pistil or ovary in which all the carpels are fused together, and it is seen in mustard and tomato, whereas apocarpous is seen in lotus and rose. The marginal placentation is the first type of placentation we have to learn, and this type of placentation is seen in peas. In the case of peas, this is an open pea, and the placenta is situated as a cushion-like structure on the ridge of the ventral suture. There are two sutures, dorsal and ventral, through which it can be opened. And when we open a piece, we can see the seeds are attached to one particular opening, and that opening is called as the ventral suture. And along this ventral suture, the ovules are born or they are attached on the ridge, that is the rim, forming two rows. This is one row and this is the second row. That means the ovules are attached along the margin, and this is called as the marginal placentation. The second type is called as axial placentation, which is seen in tomato, hibiscus, China rose and lemon. When we take a cross section or when we cut a lemon, we can see that the placenta is axial, that is, it is seen towards the center, and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary. In the case of orange, when we cut an orange or a citrus fruit, we can see that the ovary is multilocular. A number of locules are present. These are the locules. A number of locules are present. See, in the case of tomato, this is a locules. So the ovary is multilocular, and inside this multilocular ovary, the ovules are attached to the axial placenta. This is the axial placenta. The center is called as the axial placenta, on which the ovules are attached. And in this picture, we can see three locules inside which the ovules are attached, and such a placentation is called as axial placentation. And the third type is called as the parietal placentation, which is seen in mustard and argemone. In the case of parietal placentation, the ovule develops on the inner wall of the ovary. This is the inner wall of the ovary, and the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or on a peripheral part. This is the peripheral part of the ovary from which the ovules arise. And here we can see that the ovary is not divided into locules. It is having only one chamber, but it becomes two chamber due to the formation of a false septum. A false septum like structure arises, which makes it appear like two locular or bilocular, but actually it is having only one chamber. And this is seen in mustard and argemone. The next type of placentation is free central placentation. Here the ovules are born on a central axis. This is a central axis placenta, and here there is no septa. We can see it is not divided into septa. Okay, as in the case of the axial placentation, which divides it into multilocular, whereas here the septa is absent, and the ovules are born on a central axis, and it is seen in dianthus and primrose. And the last type of placentation is the basal placentation. The placenta develops at the base. And from this basal placenta, a single ovule is attached. This is a single ovule which is attached to the basal placenta. And this type of placentation is seen in sunflower. So dear children, in this module we learned about the different types of placentation. That is the arrangement of ovules on the placenta inside the ovary. And there are different types of placentation. They are the marginal, axial, free central, parietal and basal placentation. Thank you.